In this video, we'll examine the use of the RetScreen Event Tracker in order to annotate a QSUM and make the results more visual. So we'll move over to our Analytics tab, and in here we have our previous analyses. We're going to move to the QSUM here, where we see the QSUM with a nice flat baseline and that downtrending period. Now, we've determined that a retrofit of a lighting system was completed in and around February of 2013. So it would be nice to actually annotate the graph with that. There's a couple of ways to do that. One is a static annotation, which is called Edit Annotations here, and I can go in and I can enter any data that I want, put some arrows on here. But there's one that's a lot more valuable than that one, and that's called the Event Tracker. In order to access that, I'm going back to my Data tab, and I'm going to look for what's called the event log here. This is actually going to create a third table in addition to weather and electricity consumption, called the event log. And the event log is kind of like a diary, and that's the best way to use it. It's got a calendar, and then it has a series of events that can be placed in that calendar. So I'm going to place an event in that calendar on the 15th of February in 2011, which is, we know, when that retrofit was completed. So I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to work my way back through the calendar to 2011, and I'm going to click into February the 15th, and that opens up a row in my calendar, and the event name that I'm going to enter in here is Lighting Retrofit Complete. So that's the event I'm going to place on the calendar. Now I have to make sure that I click out of this to make sure that that's completely logged into the calendar. I can now go back to my analytics function, and if I'm in my QSUM, I go to the options group up here and select Event Tracker, and it gives me the option of turning on, well, in this case, only one event, but I could have multiple events in here, and I could turn any or all of them on. I click OK, and it now places a marker on the graph and labels it Lighting Retrofit Complete. Now, the interesting thing is I can apply this to my measurement verification chart as well. So I move over to the M&V chart, and I click on Event Tracker, and I turn on that event, and now I get the same event marked in here. Now, what's interesting is the commissioning date is the 14th. That's the date from which the M&V chart begins to measure the savings. But remember, in order for that to be the first month, then the retrofit had to be complete 1 month prior to that, which is what this shows. We can also apply the event log to other types of graphs, like the time series graph. So again, I go into the time series graph that I created previously, click on the event, and it lays a marker on the graph. So this makes it a really, really powerful tool for being able to examine in the time series, in the M&V chart, in the QSUM chart, all charts that we can use to analyze changes when these events actually took place. I like to do my analysis first, then lay in the events over top, and have a look to see whether there's a correlation between the events and changes that I'm seeing.